Right. So these questions are on the topic of bearings. Um, Now, some of these, well, we're going to use a protractor actually in this question. So I'm just going to get one now. Okay. So this is so we've got a protractor now that we can use. We need to understand what bearings are. So we've got 2 points. In fact, let me do my own first, so we don't have to do one of the questions, and then you can leave the questions for you. So we'll do a similar question to what we've got over there. We've got A, and then we've got point B. So these could be two people standing in a field. They could be two cities. They could be anything really. But now, the first thing we need to be able to do with bearings is to draw what is the North Pole. Now, almost always it's just going to be vertically upwards. I've not seen a question where they tried to catch you out by putting it at an angle, but so we'll only do this, but maybe once we get the hang of doing it in this way, we might think, what would we do if it wasn't vertically up? But let's just, for now, we'll just say it's vertically upwards. Now, if I said, so there's a couple of words we need to pay special attention to in this topic, and that is the word from and the word to. So we might say, the question might say something like the bearing of the bearing from A to B. Okay, so it's got the word to in that, and it's got the word from. Of course, they could have avoided using those words, but I don't think they're going to be able to avoid using both those words. And then we've got and I'll do this in a different colour. So then we could also do the bearing of B, from B to A. So what does that mean? Well, if we go from A to B, then we can imagine drawing a line from there. So it would mean that when I say, if it's going from A to B, or if I'm saying what is the bearing of B, if I'm at A, then it means from A. So it means that I'm standing at A, and what direction is B from where I am. So how do I say what direction it is using bearings? What I do first of all is I copy a North Pole. And North Poles, they're just a direction, so I can place them wherever I like. And I would place it where I'm standing, where I'm measuring the bearing from. And then I measure this angle. Now, when we do the next one, we're going to measure an angle in a different way. The thing to realize about bearings is that you always have to make them, they always have to be clockwise. So you can see I start from the North Pole, and I go clockwise. So I could use, once I've got that, I want to measure it. Now to do that, I need to place it there, but then I need to rotate it. Okay, fine. I'll need to rotate it first, and then I'll place it. And now this is relating to just how to use a protractor. We get to the point here, and we see it's there, and we might say it's 74. Well, actually, it is 74, but how do I know if it's 74 or if it's 110 or 114 or is it 106? Because we're starting at the top, we're starting at this one here, we want to look which one is it that starts at 0, and 0 starts is the outer one. So we look at the outer numbers in this case. That's 70, that's 80, so this midpoint will be 75, so we're at 74 right now. So the answer to the first one is 74 degrees. Oh, the last thing we need to remember, and I'll summarise all these points in a moment, is that we can't just write 74 degrees, actually. We always have to use 3 digits. So we have to put 074. So let's just summarise those key points for measuring bearings. The first thing to say, I'm just going to change that to red, or pinkish colour. Okay, all right, we'll see what happens when I start typing. The first thing to say is that we start. Okay, let's try again. Okay, fine. We start measuring at north. Okay, start measuring the angle. Let's say start measuring the angle at north. We always go clockwise. This will make a bit more sense in a moment why the second point is relevant. And we always use 3 digits for the angle. So, for example, okay, I'll do that. For example, 0.074. Let's get the degrees symbol as well. So those are the 3 things I think. I don't think there's anything else we need to think about, but if there is, we'll add it to this. So now let's look at the other way round. If we're now, for part B, we're now doing it from B to A. So let's get rid of that. And we're going to move the North Pole, because now we're at B, we're going from B. And we also want to flip this arrow around. And this is where we see, so we've done the first part, we start measuring the North Pole. But this is where we can see the second bullet point in play, because we might be tempted to do that, but that would be going anti-clockwise. So we always want to be going clockwise, like I say. Let's move this B up here. And actually what we do is we measure the reflex angle. So we go, because we have to go clockwise. So how do we do this? Well, it's difficult to do with this protractor, isn't it? Because we don't, I'm going to move it here. Because we don't have a 360 degree protractor. So what I could do is I could measure this angle like I was going to in the first place and subtract that from 360. So I think that's the easiest thing that I can do. So flip it around, place it there, and let's just line it up properly. That looks good. Yeah, there we go. So now which numbers do we use this time? Well, remember we start at the top, so we don't want to use the outer one this time, we want to use the inner, because we can see that's where 0 is. So we go all the way to here, we've got 100 here, it's between 110, between 100 and 110, it's past 105, so there's 106, it looks like it's halfway between 106 and 107. So I would say it's 106.5. Now, just realised I said to use only 3 digits, but I don't think those digits get included when it comes to the decimal, if we're going to add another bit of accuracy. So, well, what did I say? 106.5. 106.5 degrees. Oh, wait a second. Sorry, no, I need to subtract that from 360, don't I? That's good. That was the going anti-clockwise. So we go for 360 minus 106.5. I'm not interested in mental arithmetic at the moment, so we're just going to just put that straight into the calculator. 360, 106.5. and 253.5. So that's the answer to that one there. Let's move that over here. Okay, so that's the introduction to bearings. I'll stop the video, put it around about, well, with the other two, and then we'll have a look at some questions.